Hello everyone, welcome back to another reaction video. Thank you all to the new subscribers. Thank you all for showing your support by liking the videos, commenting, and sharing the videos as well. I hope you all enjoyed your weekend. I hope it was restful. I hope you were able to kind of reset for the week. But I do want to go ahead and jump into a few videos that Olivia did. Also, I am working on a couple of other videos for you guys. It's going to be introducing two moms to this channel. So I hope you guys enjoy it. I definitely want to incorporate more content on here. I know I've been saying that, but it's been so much going on with Olivia and even with Jasmine. I just wanted to kind of stay on top of just the things that are ongoing and try to stay, try to stay on top of what's happening right now. So I'm going to continue to react to Olivia, but I do want to incorporate more mothers to this channel, and there's some other things that I also will be incorporating as well. So again, I hope you guys will enjoy the new content that is coming. And yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into this video.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Liv, and I'm back for another one. So yeah, just to let you know, I do have a bra on, okay? I'm about to work out, but I thought I would film this video for you guys because it is April Realness. Yes, that's what we're calling this, April Realness, okay? And I want to talk about my other two baby daddies. Bitch, oh my god. I know you guys are like, girl, that's all you talk about is your baby daddies, girl. That's all you talk about. Aren't you like, are you obsessed with them? Are you maybe? Maybe I am. Just a little bit. Maybe. No, I'm not. Not at all, actually. But there's a lot of shit going around about these two individuals. And I want to talk about it a little bit more and get into depth and really let you guys pick my brain a little bit as it pertains to these two men, these two random men. Well, one you know and one is Casper the Ghost. And I know that it's kind of my fault the way that you guys are, especially with the third one. Well, actually with both of them. Because of how I was very secretive. I misled. Let's say I misled. I'm not going to say I lied. I just misled you guys because I just felt like it wasn't your business. It was my business. And I was going to tell my truth when I felt like it. And in the meantime, in between time, this is what I'm going to tell you guys for right now. You feel me?
So right off the bat, Olivia is trying to make it seem like, the month of April is all about her being real. She calls it April Realness. Why is it that Olivia can't be real January through December? I have no clue. But for whatever reason, she chose the month of April to want to come clean about things. So now she's trying to make it seem like, she intentionally misled the people into believing certain things when it comes to Zolo and the third baby father. Now, here's my thing with that. There's a difference between lying and misleading. And Olivia definitely lied outright when it came to Kalani's father. And I think she still is not being honest. And, again, I have to stress the fact that this is Olivia's business. She has every right to choose to speak on certain things or not speak on certain things. But when you intentionally come on the internet and you are trying to make it seem like Kalani's father is a certain type of male figure where you're saying in one breath, I think she said he was a police officer, then he was a firefighter, then he worked in the hospital. It was just a lot. That is not misleading. That is a direct claim that you are intentionally making to try to make it seem like Kalani's father was this guy that was very upstanding, and that was not the case at all. So although she's trying to make it seem like she's coming clean and she wants to be real with her audience, she's already starting with a lie because, again, Olivia, there's a difference. between lying about something and misleading. And you were not misleading, you were outright lying, okay?
But I want to get more into depth on how I feel now, why I'm so okay with them being distant, I guess you could call it. And where do we go from here?
I mean, I wouldn't call it distant. I would definitely call it deadbeat. Clearly, Zolo can do things differently than what he is doing. And although y'all are in two different states, he chooses to remain distant from AJ. He chooses to do bare minimum when it comes to AJ. But when it comes to him using AJ for clout, oh, he goes over and beyond in that department. But distant, no, I would say deadbeat, because even with Kalani's father, whoever he is, he wasn't present at her delivery. We have not seen him, you know, in any stage of her life, even with her having, her 1 year party. Like, this is 1 year of life that your child is experiencing. That's a major milestone, and yet nowhere to be found. So, yeah, again, I would not call it distant. I would call it deadbeat.
Okay. All right. So let's start with AJ's dad. Okay. So
I'm sorry, but Olivia, why does everything you do have to be so overly sexualized? You can't just have a regular sit down conversation without acting that way. Like, that's ridiculous. You really need to check that, because that's a problem. And it's also the fact that you had to do all of that when you mentioned AJ's father. That was very telling. Like, why are you acting that way when you speak of Zolo? Very questionable.
him and I are cool. Okay, I have no issues with him. You guys have to understand, because I know you guys are really wondering, Olivia, why don't you have issues with these men? They don't do anything for you. They're not around their kids. They don't blah, 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 blah. Whatever you guys have in your mind, right?
I mean, what's with the air quotes? Because they're not doing anything for you, and they're not doing anything for their kids. Like, neither one of them have really stepped up and been a real father. Now, I know with you, you think if somebody sends you $20 here, maybe 100 there, maybe pay a light bill or two, you think that's doing something for you and for your child, but it's very much bare minimum. And it's not even, I mean, I wouldn't even qualify that as bare minimum, to be honest. It's pretty much little to nothing. But neither one of them have really showed up to be a real father to either one of those two kids. So you doing air quotes is very meaningless, because we see different, and we also hear what you've been saying this whole time. You are pretty much trying to take care of them solo.
Okay, let me tell you guys why I don't have an issue with these men not being around, why I let them live their life and I don't bother them, why I don't pressure them. I refuse to be that annoying baby mama. Maybe I'm online being annoying, but like I said, I don't feel, especially the third one, and I don't think the second one either, I don't think they pay me any mind, which they shouldn't. This is my platform, okay? And this is where I get to express myself to the ladies that watch me, to my subscribers that watch me. I don't feel like any of my baby daddies should be watching my platforms, but if they are, just take it with a grain of salt, men, and just don't even pay me no mind. Like, I'm just over here doing my own thing, and this is my thing, okay?
No, it's not okay. And I've already stated before why your baby fathers should be paying attention to your channel. Because you're not just doing your own thing, you're showing neglect to those children. And I'm going to stick to Kalani and AJ for the simple fact you're only referencing, those two baby fathers in this video. They very much should be paying attention to your videos. They very much should be tuned in to what you're showing over there, because what you're showing over there is very disturbing. And the fact that Zolo knows that you go live, and he knows you do videos, and he knows that you're showing AJ the way that you are, and he's not even concerned by the mistreatment, It says a whole lot to me. It tells me that that man can care less. As long as he don't have to deal with AJ, so be it. And that says a lot about him as a so-called father. Because the fact that there are strangers on this internet observing your channel, watching the things that you do and the things you say, and we are very much bothered by how you act as a mother over there and the treatment that you give to your two children over there, it says a lot. So you trying to make it seem like, oh, you're not doing anything, you're just doing girl things, it shouldn't concern them because they're males and I'm a female and I cater to women over here. No, because again, you're not just catering your content to girly things such as, clothing hauls or makeup or, hair and nails and self-care. No, you're not doing that. You are just cutting the live button on, and we are literally seeing your real life play out in real time. That includes your children in every life. And we see the type of mother you are over there. I mean, I think it's ridiculous that you're really trying to come on here and making it seem like you're not showing anything that should be of concern to those baby fathers. They should very much be concerned. But obviously, they don't care.
Okay, cool. But with AJ's father, with both of them, here's the thing, you guys. You have to understand what I went through with the first one, okay? And him and I were actually in a long-term relationship that turned to a marriage. Him and I had a lot of history, the first one, okay? A lot of history. We damn near grew up together, right? We met when we were 20-something, early 20s. All through our 20s, we were together, okay? That's a long time, and him and I, it's just a different situation. With the other two, yes, I had love for both of them. Yes, I cared about both of them at one point, and we shared children from our exchanges, right, with one another. I don't bash them and I don't come for them like a lot of you bitter baby mamas do, okay? Sorry, but it's just the truth, ladies. Let me get this straight. When we lay down with a man and we get pregnant, ladies, because it's a whole process. We don't just lay down and boop, we're pregnant. Oops. No, it's a process. We know what we're doing when we lay in that bed. We know what we're doing when we don't use protection, or we do, or something happens. We know we know what we're doing when we get pregnant. We know what we're doing when we decide to keep it or not keep it. It is our decision as women, and I fully take responsibility for all my children. And with the second two, I knew what it was when it was. Okay, I didn't fantasize it. I didn't overdo it in my brain. I wasn't like, oh, we're going to be together and this is the... No, it wasn't the first situation. The first situation, another thing, I was young as hell. That's why I dealt with a lot of shit from the first dude. That's why I stayed. That's why I was young and I was dumb. Okay, with these two, I was older. I was in my 30s. I understood. I'm going to probably be taking care of these kids, raising these kids on my own until I find a husband or somebody to join me, a partner that will take on the responsibility of being in their life.
Olivia, do you even hear yourself? Because what you are saying is not making any sense, because you keep trying to justify why these two baby fathers are not fathers by bringing up your relationship with Gerard. Like, I don't understand what your situation with Gerard has anything to do with the choices you made with these other two, but let's just go there since you went there. Okay, you said you and Gerard's situation was different because y'all pretty much grew up together, y'all had history, y'all ended up married, y'all ended up divorcing, and that's your situation with him as your baby father to the three that you have. Okay, cool. Now, you try to make it seem like you went through what you went through because you had history with Gerard. You went through a lot of things because of that history, but you grew up, you learned, and you chose to move differently. And in that choosing to move differently, you accepted the fact that even though you got into these situations with these other two baby fathers, you had an understanding that you was pretty much going to be raising these children by yourself because you made the choice to lay down with them and have unprotected sex. Am I hearing this correctly? Is this making any sense to y'all? Because first off, Olivia, if you learned from your first relationship why in the world would you even be in this situation to begin with? Like, that within itself makes absolutely no sense. If you really learned from that situation with Gerard, you would not have ended up in a situation where you got pregnant very quickly with Zolo and very quickly with Kalani's father. Like, what? Nothing you're saying makes sense at all. Like, I don't even have to break this down any further because it just doesn't make any sense. And you're literally trying to sit here and justify your actions. Like, who in their right mind decides I'm going to sleep with a bum? I'm going to put myself in a situation where I could potentially get pregnant and know because I'm sleeping with a bum, the end result is going to be I'm going to be a single mother. What? Who in their right mind would put themselves in a situation like that, Olivia? Oh, I guess you are. Because you learned. This is what you learned. Like, this, y'all, this is ridiculous. I cannot.
Full time. You know what I mean? Not that a man is gonna ever take their father's place. No, but I understood the assignment. Okay? I was having these babies because I wanted these babies. Okay?
And there it is. Olivia is admitting that her assignment initially, from the very beginning, was she wanted to have those babies. And why was that Olivia's assignment? Because Gerard had custody of her other 3 children. When the court ruled in favor of Gerard to have primary custody or full custody of the children, those children were taken out of Olivia's home. She no longer had that access to her children the way that she did before. And so her assignment at that point was, I'm going to intentionally get pregnant, even though I don't know these men, even though I know they are not going to really want to be a father. But that was cool for her because she knew that if she could have children by men that would not contest the custodialship over those children, if she could have children by men who were bums, she wouldn't have to worry about these men doing the exact same thing that Gerard did with her other 3. So Olivia just admitted to the fact that this was her assignment all along, to basically replace the children that were taken out of her home. Yeah.
And another thing why I don't go hard on these men, or like, I don't force them to be in their kid's life. I don't guilt them into being in their kid's life. I don't any of that, because once again, I knew what it was. And I don't really think, even though they both knew that I was pregnant and they both were happy and they both, you know, so-called wanted the babies, right? I don't think that they both signed up for this. I signed up for this. Now, if they choose to be in their children's life, that is solely on them. And that is, that's their right to or not to be in their life. Okay, I'm a parent and I have a choice. I could be here with my 3 kids, or I could say deuces and let somebody else raise them, let somebody else try to take my spot, let somebody else think that they're me, or whatever the case may be, and just not be there for my kids. That is my choice. We all have choices as parents, as people. I choose to be in my kid's life. That's my choice. So yes, I also take accountability that it was selfish, and if I were to sit back and look at things now, of course I would tell my daughters and my son, you know, you don't just have kids because you want kids. You have kids because 2 people want kids. And, you know, you do it the right way.
I mean, again, with the air quotes, I mean, that is what it is. You are supposed to do things the right way. I don't care what it is. You do the right thing. And the fact that you're saying now, you're looking back and you're acknowledging that you were selfish and you did bring these other 2 children into this world knowing that they were not going to have a father. I mean, it's sad. It really is sad. Even to the point where, you know, you're saying that AJ and Kalani's fathers were happy when they found out you were pregnant, but yet, if they were so happy, why haven't they really stepped up? I mean, you pretty much lied and told Zolo that he wasn't AJ's father from the very beginning. Even when you found out you were pregnant, you was telling Zolo he wasn't the father. And we all saw it play out when you actually did admit to everybody that Zolo was his father after you denied it for almost 3 years of AJ's life. And I just find it so problematic. I mean, yeah, better late than never, when it comes to acknowledging certain things or admitting to certain things, but I just feel like your level of transparency is so limited that you only touch the surface of things. And although what you're saying right now, it's cool that you can sit here and say, I will teach my children basically to know that when you have children, make sure it's something that the other person also wants. But it's like you can't keep expecting your children to respect your counsel and your teachings to them when they see different. Like, you cannot keep trying to enforce certain things upon your children, but they're watching your actions. They're seeing that you're moving the complete opposite. You have more of an impact in your children's life when they can actually see that you're moving the exact same way based off of what it is that you're saying. Like, it should never be where you leave questions in your children's mind behind the things that you are saying to them, and they can know within themselves that, well, mama ain't doing that. She's telling me I can't say bad words, but we hear mama cussing all the time. You should not have to deal with bullies at school, and you don't tolerate bullies, but we see mommy bullying other women on the internet. It's like it doesn't make sense, Olivia. So again, if you really want to have a major impact in your children's life, you really have to watch how you're moving around them. And don't just do it because you think they're watching. Do it because that is genuinely how you're choosing to move. But y'all, this is just, I have so many issues with this whole conversation right here, but I'm gonna let her continue to talk.
Okay, you do it the right way. That's what's the most fair for the kids. But look, you guys, I did it kind of the right way with the other three, and the other three are, I feel like, in a worse situation than my two kids now, just because it's a lot going on with that situation.
I'm sorry, y'all, for keep stopping, but it's like she's saying stuff that's just not making sense to me. How is it, Olivia, that you kind of did the right thing when it came to your older three children, and yet you don't have custody of them? Can you please help me understand that? Because as a mother, you don't just kind of do the right thing. You always do the right thing. And yeah, we're going to make mistakes because there are no perfect parents out here. Let me just be clear on that. But I'm not understanding how you kind of do the right thing. Because when it comes to parenting, even when you don't have all the answers, you do the best that you know in that moment. You make the best decisions based off of what you know in that moment. You don't just kinda do the right thing. That to me doesn't make sense. And again, if that was your motivation going into being a parent to those three children, just only somewhat doing the right thing, why are you shocked that this is the outcome? Why are you surprised that you don't have full custody of them right now? Like, I don't even understand why you said that, because again, it just doesn't make sense.
The first one, okay, it's a lot. I'm not going to get into it, but I know that my kids deal with a lot being in two households. It's a lot. I'm not going to get into that. But regardless, I don't, what those men have to deal with moving forward if they choose not to or be in their kids' life, like actually physically in their life, that is on them. And regardless, I'm always going to have my babies. And regardless, I'm always going to be thankful to those men because they did give me the other two pieces of my heart. So I don't look at them as, I hate you, you're not doing nothing for your kids, you're a deadbeat. Why am I going to spew that negativity and that energy when in reality, all those men did was give me two angels, two two of the best little human beings that I could possibly meet in my life.
So, Olivia, if this is truly how you feel about AJ and Kalani, that they are your two angels, and we know AJ's real name is Angel, but for you to say that AJ and Kalani are your two angels and that, they are the best, human beings that you could possibly know, and they feel your heart, if this is truly how you feel, why are you always just showing neglect to those kids? Why are you always showing that you don't want to be bothered with them? Why are you always showing Kalani tucked away somewhere, not giving her any attention? Why are you always yelling and fussing and raising your voice and always, telling AJ to get out, always showing that you don't want to be bothered with him? You're always showing anger towards him and you have no patience with him. If this is truly how you feel, if you value those two little children and you view them as being your little angels on earth, why is it that we always see this every life? It's just not adding up, Olivia. And so basically what she is saying is that the reason why she believes that AJ and Kalani are better off than her older three is because, according to her, they have to go between two households, meaning living with their father and then coming to visit her. And according to her, even though she doesn't want to make it, she's trying to make it seem like she don't want to get into it, but this is what Olivia does. She throw little stuff out there and then she just casually says, I don't want to get into it. But you pretty much said a lot. You're again insinuating that your children are going through things over there at their father's home that is, I guess she's trying to make it seem like they're dealing with a lot. And it's hard on them because of what they're going through. And it's like, it's so easy for you to throw out these accusations, Olivia, but you can never back up what you're saying. Because when we see your children don't look traumatized. They don't look like they're stressed out. They don't look like they're going through depression. They always have smiles on their face. They look healthy. They speak well. Like, I'm not understanding what it is that you keep trying to make it seem like your children are suffering through being with their father and not with you. But you feel like AJ and Kalani has it better? And so again, this is why she's putting this out here, because in her mind, she feels that her children are always going to be better off with her. Even though we see the end result of what it looks like between the two. You got the three older children who seems very well-mannered, well-spoken, and then you got her two children. It's a complete difference. And I'm not even saying that to be funny or to be mean. It's a clear difference. And it doesn't matter, Olivia, how many times you try to come on here and spin the narrative that your three older children are suffering. It's not adding up because it's not showing that that's what's really going on.
So that's why, you guys, will they be in their life moving forward physically more? I don't know. It's on them. It's completely on them, and they have to make that decision. But regardless, like I said, my babies will always be good. My babies will one day, whether it's them or a man that I choose, the man that comes into my life and picks up the responsibility, my babies will have a father figure in their life one day. So I'm not worried about that. Yes, of course, I would tell women, do it the right way. Don't do it my way. But wouldn't we all, wouldn't most of us, right? So you guys, yeah, just be easier on people. Be easy on people. People are going through their own journey, through their own struggles. And I understand that with both of my other baby daddies. Like I said, I know we didn't sign up to be married and do this together. No. And each of us are on our own journey. So wherever their journey takes them, and wherever my journey takes me, you know what I mean? It's all love. And I just choose not to be bitter. But anyway, guys, I love you guys so much. Thank you guys for watching.
I mean, ultimately, I think this is very sad because, to see how selfish this woman is such an understatement because for her to make it seem like, you know, everything is fine and, because she's moving this way, she feels that she's like the best baby mother ever and, everybody else who holds the father's feet to the fire to show up and, show some type of support to the children that they chose to make, or even if it wasn't a choice, I mean, it was still a choice in the matter of you chose to lay down with this woman and have unprotected sex. So everybody knows biology and everybody knows what can possibly happen if you have unprotected sex. But to try to make her seem out to be this great mother and she's not bitter in any way, like, it's just so ridiculous because at the end of the day, the people that are hurting the most are these children. And for you to have the nerve to say that one day you may end up finding a man, or you're hoping to find a man that would be willing to be a father to your children, when you intentionally put your children in this situation to not have fathers. Again, I asked the question, do you hear yourself, Olivia? You made all these selfish decisions and you put your children last every single time. And it's like you expect this man to ride up on a white horse and be a husband to you, a provider to you and to your children that are not going to be biologically his, and he's going to pick up the father mantle that their fathers should have gladly accepted, but yet you think you're doing the right thing by allowing them to just live their life. Even if it means your children are suffering as a result because they don't have a father. It's y'all, this made no sense, but we're gonna move on to the next video, y'all.
Look, there was a lot of stuff that happened last week. A lot. We're not gonna get into it because I don't backpedal and pop, okay? But I love the fact that I express myself, okay? This is why I think it's so important to express yourself, to say exactly what's on your mind, say it, and don't spray it. I'm just playing. No, but say it and, voice that shit. You feel me? Because at least for me, I get to like bounce ideas and I get to like really take in the things I'm saying and really reflect on it, okay? So like one discussion last week was about, plaques and and diplomas. Plaques and diplomas.
I mean, first off, y'all, I cannot get past the fact that with her haircut like this, all I see is AJ. Like, I know people said AJ looked like her, and I just wasn't completely seeing it, but with her hair cut like this, all I see is AJ. And it's just completely throwing me off. Like, I'm really trying to hear what she's saying, but I just keep seeing AJ's face, and it's just throwing me. But has Olivia used jazz music before? Because y'all know I use jazz music in my intro with my podcast, and I've never heard her that I can recall use jazz music in the background. I mean, if she has, I mean, y'all can correct me. I'm cool with that, but I'm just kind of, peeping that too. Like, okay, I don't recall you using. Now I know she will use like some instrumentals in the back, but I don't think I recall her listening to jazz or putting jazz in her background. Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
I'm very different. I don't know if you guys have noticed that by now, but I feel like that's why I get a lot of hate. That's why I get a lot of questioning. That's why I get a lot of eyebrows. That's why people look at me and think of me a certain type of way. That, and I'm a bitch, and I give you what you give me, and I'm petty, and I hit below the bed. Yeah, okay. But for the most part, people look at me and they have a question mark. It's always a question mark. Ooh, look at that filter. Look at the filter. It's always a question mark when you look at me, right? And I'm okay with that. I really feel like 2025, a lot of 2024, but more into 2025, is about self discovery and just learning myself. I think that's very important for people to do in their life.
I mean, at this point, I'm gonna keep listening, but I really don't even want to go any further because it's really giving Olivia's just talking to be talking. Because for you to make it seem like 2025 was or is a year of self discovery, and you literally started this year acting a complete fool. You started this year dragging Jasmine, continuing the lies and allegations, just completely being a menace in these YouTube streets. And you're trying to tell the people today, in April of 2025, that this year has been a year of self discovery? What exactly are you discovering about yourself, Olivia, that you didn't know about yourself in 2024, 2023, like in previous years before that? Because all you keep doing is showing the same you. The same you keeps showing up on these YouTube streets. It's like you keep having these same conversations and you're not producing any growth whatsoever. The only growth that you show, Olivia, is when you speak on the word growth. That's it. Your actions, nothing when it comes to your mindset, nothing is showing growth. And it's like this is a joke. Because you even said even 2024. Are you for real? There you was experiencing self-discovery in 2024 as well? When we clearly saw what you was doing in 2024, you carried that over into this year. Like when everybody was celebrating, a brand new year, people were, writing out their resolutions, people were aspiring to, set goals and accomplish those goals. Your goal was to continue being the menace that you've been. But you want to talk about when it comes to you, there's a huge question mark? Of course. Because everything that comes out of your mouth leaves question marks because it's not making sense. You say one thing, you do the other. You do things and then you try to hide and act like you didn't do it. No accountability. No admitting to the things that you're doing. I mean, you try to scratch a little bit of the surface of it, but not taking it seriously to really come on here and be transparent, to really tell the truth, to really be real. It's all a facade.
And I'm definitely on that journey. 2024 was a lot of self healing, and I'm always self healing, but it's more about like discovering who I am, what I love, you know. And anyway, the discussion last week really opened my mind to. I'm very proud of where I am today. Like I said, I'm different. You know, uh, straight collar people or whatever you want to call them, society standards, you have to go to college and don't draw outside the lines, draw inside the lines, and I've always been an outside the line person. And I know a lot of people are, especially artists, there's a lot of artists. I have more of like an artist, way about me. And I was never good at school. I never cared for school. Yes, school is important. Of course I know that. Education is important. Duh. But first of all, let's get into it. The US school system sucks. Okay? Let's talk about it. That doesn't diminish the fact that school is very important. People think I don't care about education. No, I do care about education. When it comes to my children, when it comes to me, education can mean a lot of things. Education doesn't exactly have to mean sitting in a classroom and learning from a book that the U.S. government sat in front of you and made you, you have to read this now. No, but education is important to, broaden your minds. You know what I mean? Open your minds up, learn new things, what you want to learn. And also for children, what's important for them to learn. They have to learn the basics, obviously. But we're not talking about my children. We're talking about me. But as far as school, no, I never really cared for it. So it's funny when people brought up diplomas and stuff. Some people don't care about that, believe it or not. I know society standards, you're supposed to care about that, but some people don't, and some people get very ahead in life without taking that route, you know?
So Olivia is basically addressing the conversation that took place when she basically was trying to throw insults and try to throw her YouTube plaque in Jasmine's face and making it seem like her plaque was above any accomplishment. And now she's trying to dial it back and say that, she believes education is important, but she doesn't believe that the educational system in the U.S. is worth really aspiring to get a degree, because that's pretty much what I'm getting from what she's saying. Now, what I will say to that statement that she made, if you're looking at it from a whole, as far as the educational system in the U.S. versus other countries, yes, the U.S. has kind of fallen behind. There was a time where we were excelling in that category, but that doesn't speak to all educational systems in the U.S. There are some really good schools in the U.S. Now, I get some communities in certain parts of the U.S., they definitely fall short. There are certain areas within the U.S. where, if you're looking at the population of African American children, they are not excelling in reading. And you can do a breakdown in other demographics and different ethnicity groups where there is also a decline in reading and mathematics and all the other subject matters. So, again, to some degree, yeah, the U.S. has, fallen a little behind, but it does not speak to saying that getting a degree is something that you should not aspire to. Um, I feel that for Olivia to make it seem like, oh, well, she is, an artist. And so, in that regard, she doesn't necessarily have to aspire to get a degree. I don't understand that point of view because I'm a creative. I write. At one point, I used to write poetry. I haven't written poetry in a few years, but I used to write poetry all the time. I write song lyrics. I enjoy singing. I enjoy creating music. I mean, there's a few things that I kind of, dib and dab in, but I just don't understand why she's trying to make it seem as if just because you are a creative, that some kind of way that excuses you to being able to aspire to something more than that. Because, my thing is, I'm not sitting here trying to force Olivia to get a college degree. I'm just saying, do something. If you want to do makeup, go to school and get your certification for that. If you want to be a tattoo artist, go to school and get your certification for that. Like, I'm not trying to push a degree on this woman. I'm saying do something in a way that is going to elevate you and set you up financially, that is going to provide some stability in your life and in the lives of your children. But it was also the fact that she was trying to belittle people who had degrees. That was also another issue that I had, because you don't know what it takes to attain that. You're saying you don't want to sit up in a classroom and read and have to learn material, and you said school is not your thing. Okay, that's you. But there are people who actually do enjoy school. There are people who actually do enjoy learning. And there are people who actually put in the work and the time and the dedication and the sacrifice to get out here and get a college degree. And for you to belittle that, that was the issue. For you to try to uphold your YouTube plaque over a degree, that was the issue.
And for me, I just live a life where I didn't take that route. And, it's worked out fine for me so far. But reflecting on last week's conversation, I was like, what I just said stands. But I had to think, like, am I really working or doing things at my full potential? Am I living my life at full potential? Because yes, of course, you don't have to go to school. You don't have to draw inside the lines. You can do whatever you want with your life. It's your life. And you can still be very successful at life, but you have to have something, and of course you have to have something because everybody has something, literally. Like, you love to do something. You can make money out of whatever you love to do, especially if you perfect it, you know your craft, you work on it, and you make it marketable, period. That's life, okay? You either work for the man or you become the man, okay? So I've always wanted to work for myself. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur, obviously, which brings me here to YouTube. But am I furthering that? Yes, I have a plaque, and I'm so proud of my plaque. But while I was standing there pointing at the next chick for having a diploma and not doing anything with it, I'm thinking to myself, well, am I working at my fullest potential? Am I operating for my fullest potential right now? No, I haven't been. And then that made me think, like, okay, well, Liv, that's kind of a hard pill to swallow because I kind of have to accept the fact that I have been lazy. I haven't really put me, like, there yet. I haven't really, like, honed in on what I want to do and make that a priority and learn it, perfect my craft and do it. And we've had these conversations before, like when it came to makeup, you know? And it's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just me being lazy. Let's just say that.
I would just say to this, Olivia, it would be nice if you would give credit where credit's due, because you portray as if you're coming to these conclusions all by yourself. And the reason why you're speaking the way that you are is because you're listening. And like I said before, I'm glad you're listening, but it would be nice if you would acknowledge where you're getting, these revelatory moments from, because it's not so much to say that I need a pat on the back from you. It's to speak to just being real, because it can't be where you throw insults, but at the same time, you're gaining valuable information. It's just like, with me, like, if I'm watching someone or if I'm speaking to someone and they're giving me like this awesome feedback and I'm learning from this person, I have no problem giving them credit. Like, you know what? I sat under this person's mentorship, or I watched this video and it just inspired me. It's like you give credit where credit is due. And even to you using the word hone in, like, that's how I speak over here. So again, it's not to say that I need validation from you. It's to say that it would be nice if you would just be transparent and just be real, because you try to throw insults in my direction, but at the same time, you take on a lot of things that I say and the way that I speak. Like, you definitely try to emulate the things that I'm doing over here. But, I do think that for her to acknowledge the fact that she pretty much had to really see where she was going wrong after her trying to throw insults towards Jasmine, that was an opportunity, Olivia, for you to just admit to the fact that you shouldn't have even said that to Jasmine. That you was wrong for saying that, because if you can acknowledge that you're trying to throw jabs at somebody and yet you're guilty of the very thing that you're trying to criticize the next woman on, that was an opportunity for you right there to right a wrong. That would have showed some humanity. That would have gave you some respect points. But it's like, it's so hard for you to just be real. But I think it was very, it was definitely a step in the right direction for you, Olivia, for you to finally admit that you are lazy. That's something that I think a lot of us been saying for the longest, and we'll see what you do with that, revelation you just got, and you acknowledging and seeing that you are lazy and you definitely do not put forth the effort to do anything with your life.
YouTube did come so easy to me, and it was much different back then. I wanted to vlog my life. I wanted to let you guys in. I wanted to show my lifestyle. That's called lifestyle vlogging, right? And not that I don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do it as much. And so, you know, like invasive, like in my business for real. You guys know I don't want you guys in my business for real. But like I still do want to do lifestyle vlogging. But like I also I also want to like do more niche stuff. You know what I mean? Like I just think it's time to elevate. I really do. And I know I always come with these Easter speeches or whatever you people like to say, but it's because I reflect. I actually sit back and I think about things. You know what I mean? So, anyway, I just know that there's so much more I could be doing right now that I'm not doing, but it really takes time. It really takes hard work. Like I was saying, when I started YouTube, it wasn't hard. Like it was literally me just picking up a camera and vlogging my day-to-day life, and I didn't care what you guys saw. I didn't care if you guys knew I was arguing with my man. I didn't care da 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 da. You know, it was just a matter of editing a video, a day in the life. You know what I mean? And that's so fucking simple. Let me tell you guys, that's the easiest shit. But when you actually hone in on a craft, on a hobby, on a career, on a business, on a whatever the case may be, that's a lot more work. And then when you take your content creations more serious, more with more strategy, it takes a lot more planning, and it's not for the weak, okay?
I mean, the fact that she's trying to downplay, editing, I kind of felt like she was throwing a jab, but I'll just say when it comes to editing, it is definitely not just as easy as she's trying to make it seem. I mean, yeah, anybody can throw some stuff together and call it editing, but when you really take the time out to really edit your videos, it's not that easy. It can take hours to edit when you are really trying to put forth the effort to produce like some decent content. Um, but I feel like Olivia has always tried to take the easy route. I think now she's in a position where she has to figure out her next move because the way she's been going about it, just picking up a camera and just going live, it's become very problematic for her. And so now she's trying to figure out another way to navigate her channel because it's getting her into a lot of trouble based off of how she's been producing content over there. So I'm curious to see what she's gonna bring forth, but I don't know. I just feel like thus far it's just been the same. She's always promising different content. She's gonna do this. She's gonna do that, but we just see the same from her.
So basically, I'm happy that everything happened last week happens because I got to sit back with myself and really just evaluate what I'm doing in my life. And yes, I'm proud of where I am. I don't take shit back. But where else am I going? Where am I going? Where do we go from here?
See, you lost me again right here, Olivia, because you're saying, I'm proud of your accomplishment. You're proud of the fact that you got your YouTube plaque. And then you say, I don't take nothing back. So, in other words, because you were able to accomplish getting a YouTube plaque based off of just really stepping on the backs and the necks of other YouTube mothers on here and also just other people in general that you dragged onto these YouTube streets. You did all of that to attain this accomplishment, and yet you sit there loud and proud saying, I don't take nothing back. I feel like that's very heartless of you to know that this is how you accomplish that. Because, like I said before, you didn't accomplish that YouTube plaque by you staying true to yourself, having some common decency, having some self respect, and just respecting other people and their boundaries. You didn't do this from the sweat of your own brow and by putting forth the work and using your life as your own personal content, actually producing something worth watching. Instead, you use other women to get where you are. You use your ex-husband to get where you are. You use a lot of people to get where you are. And you sit here and say you don't take anything back. That's very shameful.
Where do we go from here? That is really the question. So yeah, like where do we go from here? There's a lot of things that I want to do. there's a lot of things that I want to do, and I just haven't made the time. I haven't made the sacrifice, and I haven't got my ass and got it done. Okay, I can take full accountability for that, for whatever reason. But like I said, I really honed in on everything, and I was just like, I don't want to be like that. I wanna do things with my life, like whatever. And let me tell you guys something. You guys can do anything you want with your life. Whether you decide to color inside the lines or color outside the lines, however you want to live your life, baby, you can be successful at anything you put your mind to. And yeah, that's just what I've always been taught. And I've gotten very sidetracked, and a lot has happened, a lot has gone down, but I'm just very happy to be in this space where I'm just like, now I'm like kind of in my own ass, and I'm just like, okay, Liv, well, you have accomplished a lot. You know, I've been able to sustain my lifestyle just off of doing what I do.
You have been able to sustain your lifestyle by doing what you do. What is your lifestyle, Olivia? You said that like you are living this glamorous life. What is glamorous about your life, girl? You're living in government assistance housing. And again, that's no shade. I feel there are times where we need that assistance to get us to the next level, to be that stepping stone for us to get in a better position. I will never knock being able to get government assistance for a temporary time frame, because you never know when you're going to fall on hard times. But it's the fact that you're comfortable. It's the fact that you're not even trying to move beyond your current situation, beyond your current living situation. You're settling. And it's like, I'm trying to figure out, what is it about your life that is worth glamorizing over? You are not doing anything that would cause anyone looking at your life from the outside to see something about your life that would warrant them to want to aspire to it. It's not a flex, girl. What you're doing is not a flex. Now, I know your channel is monetized. I don't know how much money you make. But if you are making a substantial amount of income and you're still choosing to remain in that same place, that says a lot about your mindset. That says a lot about your aspirations in life. Because I could never just settle for bare minimum. I could never just be comfortable in a situation knowing that I have all the potential in the world to remove myself from that place. I don't understand the comment you just made.
You know what I mean? And that says a lot. You know what I mean? That says a lot. But I can always do better. And life, you want to keep just growing, elevating, you know, doing new things, learning new whatever you want to do in life. You know what I mean? Learn more about it. Put your mind to it. Set goals. Accomplish your goals. And I was just really sitting back, and I was just, you know, evaluating things. And you know, if I really, really put my mind to it, and I really dedicate this year to getting the best at what I want to do, because like I said, what I want to do. Life is about doing what you love and loving what you do. And I'm not going to go sit at a desk job and work the rest of my motherfucking life. Excuse me. If you guys do that, then that's okay. I'm not putting anybody down. But I'm not that type of person. You know, I can't do that. I have to do what I love. I have to express myself. My line of work, like everything else in my life, has to be expressive because I'm an expressive person. I'm an artist. So I have to work in that field, and I have to do what I love to do.
In order for you, Olivia, to refer to yourself as an artist, there has to be something tangible that you're bringing to the table. You can't just say, I'm an artist, but you're not producing anything to show your artistry. It sounds good, but you're not being truthful. But once again, I just feel at this point you're talking and you're not really just I don't know. I just feel like we just keep hearing the same from you. And it would be nice for a change to actually see you do the very things that you're saying that you're going to do. Um, but, I guess your audience is happy to hear what you're saying right here. But, for someone like me, it's like, okay, at some point, you're just going to have to stop talking and just do what it is that you're saying you're going to do, because that's what matters the most. That's what's going to have the most impact, is when you can actually produce what it is that you're saying that you're going to do.
Okay, that's how I'm going to operate the best, and that's how I'm going to be as successful as I can be. Okay, so with that being said, I have a bunch of talents. A bunch. We're not going to get into them. You guys know a few of them, okay? But I am very talented, extremely. I just don't put forth the effort. And I can say that, and I know that. So I think that 2025, I'm not going to do too much talking. I'm just going to do more shelling, okay? But just know, you guys, this is a beautiful, when ideas come to you and realizations happen, epiphanies happen, it's a beautiful moment. It's a beautiful moment. It just reminds me, it's actually very humbling, because it reminds me that I'm still here. I'm still alive. I still have the breath that God gives me, and I can still do what I want with my life. And that goes for you guys too. Like I said, anything you want, anything you put your mind to, you guys can have in this world. So, yeah, guys, I don't just talk shit. I actually, evaluate things too, okay? Because, baby, there's just a lot that I want to do. Not only for me, but for my kids. I want to show my kids. Because I am that type of mom, regardless of what you think. Yes, go get a high school diploma. Of course, all my kids are going to get high school diplomas. They're going to be better than me. They're going to sit their ass there, and they're going to do the work. They're going to do that schoolwork, and they're going to get those high school diplomas, okay? And then they can do whatever they want. They can do whatever they want. No, I'm not going to be the mom that says, go to college. No. I want you to be you. What do you love? And I'm going to water that. I'm going to water it, and I'm going to watch it grow. And
I just think it's interesting that you're coming with a different energy, because it wasn't too long ago, Olivia, where you was trying to convince the people that you was setting aside a college fund for your children. Yeah, you was talking about college funds and your children going to college, because that was the conversation that I was having over here, because of how you don't take education seriously, because how you don't invest back into yourself educational wise, so you can be somewhat of a help to your children. Because I think it's sad that with you being a mother to 5 children, at some point they're going to need assistance with their schoolwork, and you're not going to be able to know how to help them. And that was the direction of how my conversation was going, and you came back and tried to make it seem like you was all about college, and you was setting up college funds and all of this stuff, and making it seem like Gerard was wasting money, because that money that he was spending in the court was money that could be going to a college fund. But now you saying it with your chest, your kids ain't got to go to college. So I'm just very confused. It just seems like you're really trying to have this energy towards college and, people with degrees, because you're really still trying to make a point to say that it's like you don't in any way want to feel like, when it comes to you and Jasmine, you don't want to feel like she has one-upped you in any way. You always got to move the table to make yourself look better than her. And in the processes of you doing that, you are throwing shots at other people who also have college degrees and who understand the value in having a degree. You can get a certification and go out here and make some good money. But it's, like I said, it's the fact that you're not even trying to invest in yourself. I don't know. It's just weird to me that like I said, you're changing the narrative again. But, I do agree that when it comes to your children, you should not force them getting the degree. I think naturally that should be something that you want to set your child up with. You want them to be able to have options. You want them to understand the importance of having something that they can fall back on. But yeah, I do agree. Ultimately, it's their decision, it's what they aspire to do. But as parents, it is up to us to lay the foundation when it comes to our children. Because if you have no foundation with your children, if you don't have no boundaries with your children, you're giving them room to just do whatever they want. And children need structure. You have to provide structure in order for them to know how to navigate. I don't know. If you truly believe and feel that, your children should be better than you, and you want that truly, then I feel you should present every opportunity to your children and not make them feel bad in any way if they do want to go to college. Because you definitely seem like you're downing college and those who went to college.
I'm going to encourage you to be the best at whatever you love. You understand? But how can I do that if I'm not showing the example? Because I can do it. I could do it. I could be the biggest makeup artist in Dallas. I could be the biggest tattoo artist in Dallas. I just have to work my ass off, and I have to hone in on my craft. I have to hone in on my talents, and I have to put it to good use. You understand? So, clock that T. I'm clocking my own T. Okay? I'm clocking my T. And, yeah. You guys, just never feel discouraged. You guys can do it. You guys can do it. It's never too late. You have breath in your body. You can do it, babe. Okay? I love you guys. This was a good talk for April Realness.
Yeah, a lot of what she's saying is really what I was saying in my conversations to her. I don't know. It's just hard to really take her serious because she tries to come on here and say all the right things, but it's like you're not getting any newfound revelation. Like you're really gravitating to conversations that are being had, and you're piggybacking off of those conversations. So it comes across very disingenuous. Do I wish she will change her content up over there? I do. Do I wish she would take this seriously and really put forth the work and the effort to get a career, get some stability over there, get some financial stability? I do. Will she? I don't know. I mean, all I can go off of is what I've been seeing. I just think at some point, you just got to get tired of just being sick and tired. Until you get to that point, you're just going to continue to do the same thing, hitting your head up against the same brick wall. Never changing, never growing, never evolving, never learning. So I guess we will see. But with that being said, you guys, I'm going to see y'all in the next video. Let me know how y'all feel in the comment section below. I will talk to y'all there. It's OneLove, and I'm out.